Greetings. We're going to work on taking our tiny scan drawing that we've been illustrating in Illustrator and transferring into a new document to the point where we'll be able to create a repetition. I made a larger version of it here so you could see it. And the nice part about this technique is we can make our wrapping paper look really sophisticated. So instead of just making it a basic grid, we can have a lot of overlapping. Mine isn't perfect just quite yet. As you could tell, I forgot to adjust this little gift part here, but I'm well on my way, which is exciting. So the big thing I want to start with is making sure that your drawing is ready to go on your scan here. So that means you've completed all of your drawing and it's ready to go. You're going to actually open a new document after that. And a good size to work with is about 4 by 4 inches. You can go smaller if you want your design to be really tiny, but I think based on the detail level of everyone, 4 by 4 is going to be good. We want to make sure we have one artboard and you'll get a nice square, which is good to go. I like to put on my ruler, Control R. This helps me visualize a little bit better. So I'm going to go back to my scan and I'll go into my layers. Hopefully the scan itself is locked. So that way I could just use my black arrow, select all the stuff above, and I'll just copy it and paste it into the new square. Again, this is just one little piece of our wrapping paper. We'll be able to set it up in a way where it will repeat relatively seamlessly. So you, at this point, it's a good time to go in and make sure that all of your pieces are grouped. So like from what I have here, I clicked on my gift and I want to make sure like the bow is selected too. So I'm just going to Control G to group those. It's going to make my life a lot easier later. So I would do it just like that. Control G to group. All that means is when I select it, I'm going to, if I click on one piece, like this red portion, it's going to select the whole present for me. That makes life a little less confusing. Sometimes you select too much, like that. And that's okay. Let me try again. All right, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. Let's just do our little penguin friend here. I think he was already grouped. Awesome. So here's the part we need to do to make sure we repeat correctly. Here's the thing. We've got an x-axis, and that means what goes across horizontal, and we've got a y-axis. So I'm going to hang some of my presents off the top, the x-axis like this. And then the key is that I'm going to leave an empty kind of space here for it to repeat. So this top of the present would hang off here, but later on it's going to end up repeating down there. So I'm going to leave some space for that. I'll move maybe this over here. Maybe I'll move that one. Maybe I'll leave one here, and then maybe this green one will hang off the bottom a little bit just to give me some balance. Now I want to consider, that was working on my x-axis. Now I'm going to work on the y. So I'll perhaps have one hanging off over here. So I'll leave this area kind of blank. And then in comparison, maybe I'll have one hanging off here. And then I can like leave this area blank for now. I may even copy and paste and put another one over here. So if you feel like you need to fill in with more than you had on your original, feel free. It's not a big deal. It's part of the editing process. Okay. I kind of like the idea of having, maybe I'll put one like here. I could always change the colors before I edit all these things too, but yeah, I'll do something like that for now. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with the way it's looking right now. So once I'm pretty much happy with the way things are, I need to basically get the second half of this present, this top portion with the bow, to appear down here, and I need the bottom half to appear over here, etc. So I'm going to be doing a few alterations here. You're going to see I have some kind of like, I have a few gaps in my project right now. So it will make sense in a little bit. We're going to learn a new skill as far as copying and pasting goes. I'm going to Control C to copy like you normally know, but I'm going to Control F. And I know it looks like nothing happened, but it actually pastes directly on top of where you were. So you can see it was directly on top. So I'm going to undo to put it back. I'm going to go to transform here at the top. And like I said, the X and Y axis. I want to move my present downward. So there's a lot of different elements I need to adjust here. So as a reminder, the X is the horizontal, as you can see, because this is width, and Y is the vertical. So if I want this present to go vertically, I'm going to do it on the Y. And I also want it to go as the number increases. So it's going to go up. So this is where it falls on the axis. I'm going to do +4. Notice how I leave spaces there. And it's going to move it directly down from me. So this exact amount of present that was up here has been repeated down here, which is awesome. I'm going to do this other green gift. I'm going to Control C to copy it, Control F like Frank to paste it right on top, and transform again. And again, I'm on the y-axis, but I'm going, it's going to go to a lower number, so I'm going to -4 it. And just to explain, you're probably like, why did I pick 4? Our canvas is 4 by 4 inches. -4, bam. So that's going to fall right there. So the only other two I have hanging off here are these two yellow and blue ones. Okay. Control C, Control F like Frank. Now I'm working on the y-axis, the x-axis, forgive me. If you're not sure if I should go like plus or minus, look at the ruler at the top. I need to go back this way, so the numbers are going down. So I'm going -4. And then this one, Control C, Control F. Transform, I'm going up positive numbers, +4, like that. Awesome. So ideally, like I may not be super happy with like the colors, kind of like these two next to one another, not a huge deal. So if you want to select your gift, you can ungroup it by doing Shift Control G, and that will make things separate. And you could sit there and change your colors, etc. Just for the sake of the demo to make this go a little faster, I'm gonna pretend I did all that stuff already. So you really want to be pretty sure and pretty happy with your commitment at this point before we move on. So if you want to keep your background white, feel free, do that. If you want to add a color, you could add another layer on top. And I'm just going to pick something random so you can see it. Go more gray. Okay. And in order to do that, you can just go and make a square. Another thing you can do is just do like 4 inches by 4 inches. And then in order to like move it, you can use that transform thing again and hit this little corner and set it to 0 and set the y-axis to 0, and it will place it like directly perfectly in the middle for you, which is nice. Of course, I need it behind, so I'm going to drag it like that. Okay. The next part is a little hinky, but it doesn't seem like you need to do it, but it will make the process work a little easier but later. I'm going to Control C and Control F to make another copy of the background here, and I'm going to drag it to the tippy top on top here. So I have like a sandwich right now. I have got a gray background, I've got the penguin stuff in the middle, and then I got a gray on the top. Use my black arrow to select all of it, and I need to do 2 things. I need to get rid of all this excess on the outside in order for this to work. So I'm going to make a clipping mask, object, clipping mask, make, ta-da. And one more step just to make sure that like the excess stuff is clipped off. I don't want to click off of this stuff now, but still the selections would exist. So we need those to go away. I'm going to go to Window, Pathfinder. And this one we like never use, but it's called Crop. It's the 4th one in the 2nd row. And the idea is that when I click off to the side here, that there's no more like presents for me to select. Okay. Very cool. So we've pretty much made this into like a swatch right now, which is looking really awesome. So what I'm going to do is I just took it and I dragged it as like a fill here, which is exciting. And then I'm going to drag it into my swatches here. So it's like basically a color essentially. If your swatches aren't open, don't worry about that. You're going to go to Window, Swatches, and you would be able to do the same thing. So let's test this out. Later on, you're going to end up making your paper 24 inches wide by 18 high. And I just set this as my fill. I do no stroke. And you could zoom in and you're going to have this very, very beautiful piece of wrapping paper here. I know it's kind of tricky to visualize where you're at with it, but so this would be 1 foot. You would see a penguin about every 4 inches, which works out pretty well. You can even grab one of the gift boxes if we have one in class that you could use. So it looks really fantastic. If you're not happy with it, maybe you're like, oh, I think I want to spread out like my presents a little bit more. Don't worry about it. You could always go back in. And the key at this point is really to just keep undoing. So you want to undo to the point where you don't have like the background anymore. That's probably where I would go Control Zing. There you go. So if you need to make your edits, then I would go back here and make your edits from that point on. Okay. And then we would just pick up and repeat the process when we're ready to go. So once we're totally done and you're like, I am super happy with this, we are ready to go, you'll just make another document. Or actually, the easier way after you're totally done and you have the swatch ready to go would be to just edit your artboard. You can make it 24 by 18. So that's going to be the final piece of paper that we're going to need. And then again, my swatch went away because I undid all my stuff, but you would take the swatch that you created. I'm going to use this one now. And you would basically just fill your paper. You can click, make it 24 by 18. And when you go to your transform, set it to the corner, 0, 0, and it will center to your paper, which will be awesome. I think we got to move this one over. That wasn't adjusting because I have the other stuff. But the idea is that we'll center it on the paper. We'll save it as an Illustrator file, and then we will also export it. So you'll save as and do your normal saving in Illustrator under your school ID number. And then you'll also export as. I like to do a JPEG, and then you will upload both your Illustrator version and your JPEG version to Classroom, and you'll be all good to go.